Arizona. It's morning anyway. So good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you're joining us from. And happy Monday. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. And if that meant spending time with family, I hope that you did that and you enjoyed that. If that meant just sitting on the couch or in a lounge chair and just relaxing, then I hope you did that too. So, whatever it was, I hope that you enjoyed that time. And I'm excited for today's topic. As you've noticed the last few Mondays, I have been deviating, but only slightly, from the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles, which we'll get back to, of course. Right. It's always waiting for us. So whenever we get back into the flow of that, which will be tomorrow on the show, by the way, we'll start with lesson 91, and then we'll be back having just finished a review period. We'll be back in the standard format that the workbook offers of one idea a day with commentary, with practical suggestions, with explanations. And we'll be doing that. And today, I want to take a look at simplicity. That is my word for today, and that is the subject. And in fact, that is the basis of every single one of my spiritual teachings. So, what do I mean by that, and how does this apply to A Course in Miracles? Because this live stream is all about A Course in Miracles. Well, I'll tell you. So, and no matter what the spiritual tradition that you are involved in, and maybe you're involved in many, which is great. I mean, the 21st century is beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful that we have access to an entire spiritual catalog, for maybe lack of a better word, right? And everything, every single religious and spiritual tradition that exists in the world is available to us right now in the 21st century with our technology of the internet. If we're curious about a particular tradition, we can Google it. We can find groups of people that are involved in that tradition. We can reach out to them. We can gather information. We can sit with information and see whether it resonates with us. We can meet with people virtually and also in person. Eventually, of course, this pandemic's going to be over and we'll be able to freely meet in person again, as we were just a little over a year ago. So that's coming, and it may be coming right now to the area where you live, depending, right? Everyone is different in that regard with local government, restrictions and all of that. But that's going to go away eventually. May not feel like it right now, but it's going away. We'll be able to meet with each other in person again, and we can already do it virtually. So there's an entire human inventory, catalog, the full breadth and depth of spiritual traditions is available to us right now. So there's a lot to choose from. And no matter what you have chosen in your life, whether A Course in Miracles is involved in that or not, actually doesn't make any difference. You could study just A Course in Miracles, and that could be the centerpiece of your spirituality. And it would be a beautiful standalone, but it's not really alone. And that's the beauty of this, is that it's a self-study curriculum that augments what people are already doing. It can enhance your understanding. It can enhance your experience of whatever your spiritual walk looks like, whether you're following one of the larger, more recognized religious traditions like Islam or Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., or whether you're following your own spiritual path, whether you're following 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, who knows how many different spiritual traditions. They're all available. This augments all of them. We're presenting universal concepts here. It is completely, and as you know, universal. Spirituality is universal. So that's part of the beauty of this that I really love. Part of the genius of A Course in Miracles is it's not a religion. No one is required to adhere to any traditions or rituals or groups for that matter. It's all self-study, which is perfect because let's face it, the last thing the world needs is more complication, right? In other words, the last thing the world needs is another religion or another pseudo-religion or a cult or people running off and running their own show. Yeah, no, we don't need that. We need simplicity. And happily, spirituality offers simplicity. All of my teachings are about simplicity. And if you've tuned in to this live stream before, you'll know that there are some words and phrases that I repeat. Happily repeat a lot, all the time. Why? As adult learners, we need to hear things many times. We need to hear them in different ways. We need to see them presented in different ways. So the way A Course in Miracles presents a basic spiritual concept might be very different on the surface than the way another tradition presents it. Really, they're the same idea. And because you're watching this, I know that you know deep down that all spirituality is ultimately one, and all of these traditions converge. Isn't that beautiful? They all converge. Spirituality is very simple. We complicate it. We make elaborate rituals. We invent belief systems. We do. We invent them in the world. We invent things to occupy our mind and to fill what we think are gaps, what we perceive as gaps between ourselves and reality. And we fill it with rituals. We fill it with elaborate rites. And, well, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You don't have to. Spirituality is very simple. Of course, the experience of God, the experience of who we really are, of love, is beyond words, but it can be summed up very simply in 2 words. God is. Put a period at the end of that. Period, end of mic drop. And as far as I'm concerned, really, it could be end of discussion. But since we need discussion, and we're here to discuss, let's continue, shall we? To discuss. It's very simple. The truth is very simple. We just are used to living complicated lives. We're used to running around like the proverbial chicken with its head cut off, wandering around, busy, racing. It's a matter of cultural pride in most societies to be racing about, so busy. And if you say, I'm so busy, people will think that you're an upstanding citizen because you're racing. Yeah, because you're busy. You can tell what I think about that, right? And do you feel the same way? Yeah. How often do we stop to consider how complicated we make our lives and how we don't need to do that? This is why spiritual teachers say the same thing over and over again. This is why I repeat all the time, choose love. We have a choice between love or fear. Isn't that wonderful? It's just 2 things. We have one choice to make every moment of every day, not 50,000 like it appears. One leads to happiness, true happiness. The other leads to suffering. Which do we want? Deep down, I mean, all we have to do is ask ourselves deep down. It's very simple. It's a choice of love or fear. It really, literally is that simple. It is. And we fear don't we? When we're identifying with the ego, which is what's going on. I mean, the choice of love or fear is the same as God or the ego. And if you, in your tradition, do not use the word God, or you prefer another term, then please feel welcome, right, to use that term. A Course in Miracles uses the term God. Therefore, I, on this live stream, use the term God. And you could use spirit, source, your higher self, the universe, whatever it is that resonates with you is what you should use. Absolutely. Because one of the simple parts of spirituality is we have free will. We have retained free will. No one has ever taken that away from us. And if we choose not to exercise our free will, that's a choice, isn't it? We've chosen not to do it. If we choose to ignore spirituality in this lifetime, that's a choice. No one can take this choice away from you. We all have the ability to decide. Now, people could see that as, oh, that's a lot of pressure on me. Well, no. Now, who else is going to do it, right? Your neighbor's not having your experience. Your neighbor cannot elect love for you. Can they? No. You've got to do it yourself. It's powerful. And the more that we practice, the more we embrace this power, the more our experience fundamentally alters. And I do mean, guys, fundamentally alters. It changes your perception, which is the purpose of spiritual practice. It is the stated purpose of A Course in Miracles, to have us perceive ourselves and the world and everyone in it differently than we do right now. If you're looking at it through a fear-based lens, you're going to see attack and war and suffering. If you look at it through the lens of love, you're going to see beauty and joy and happiness, forgiveness. That's the choice. It's very simple. And we fear to lose ourselves, don't we? So strong in our lives is the ego's hold, right? We've been habituated to equate ourselves with the physical body. Yeah, I mean, that's what we think of as me. So I'm touching my nose, and these are my eyes and my eyebrows and my forehead, and yeah, my neck, shirt, ear, all of that. Uh, that's how we're socialized. That's how we're habituated. That's how we're raised, really, and through no fault of our own, right? Nor, I should say, any fault of our parents or our teachers or anyone, because everybody's just doing what they learned from their teachers, from their parents, et cetera, until we realize there's a different way of looking at it. Now, because you're watching this, you've realized that there's a different way of looking at it. And by the way, you cannot go back. Sorry. Doesn't work that way. Isn't that exciting? I say it is. So we fear to lose ourselves, right? If we identify with love, if we identify with God, because really we are leaving the ego aside. And because our conditioning is so strong, we become afraid of being found, right? Now, can yourself be lost really by being found? Can yourself be lost by being found? This is directly out of the text of A Course in Miracles. And naturally, the answer is no. Spirituality is just the steps, moment to moment, along this journey to leaving our old way of being behind. We do not have to do battle with it. We do not have to go to war with it. We do not have to kick fear in the face, as people commonly say. And it's it's a big saying. I'm sure you've heard it, kick fear in the face. It's not an opponent. It's not an opponent. You have no opponent. Spirituality is very simple. You are love. So choose it. Choose it. And the more you choose it, the more you come to realize that. That is what spiritual practice is for. That is what any spiritual practice is for. That is what meditations are for, no matter what form they are, whether it's silent meditation or a guided meditation or yoga or a walk in the woods or in a park, on a beach, in nature. Yeah, whether it's a bubble bath or a good book, whatever that self-care is like, whether it's prayer, whether it's a more elaborate spiritual or religious ritual, whatever that is, it's letting go of our habitual tendencies. In other words, the ego. It's very simple. The more we do that, the more the experience of God we have. The more the experience of God we have, the easier it is to notice our habitual tendencies. Yeah, anger, frustration, rage. The easier it is to notice them when they come up and to leave them aside. We don't have to kick them in the face. We don't have to do violence to them. We simply choose love and they go away. It really is that simple. So I don't ever expect people to believe anything that I'm saying. Isn't that exciting? Really, it's wonderful because it's not about that. It's not about do you believe it or not? It's about the experience of it. So if you don't believe it, what I invite you to do is to entertain these ideas. Entertain the idea and kick it around honestly in your mind. Kick it around and see if it makes sense to you, if it makes practical, living, breathing sense to you. That if you choose love, fear goes away, right? We have a choice between love or fear. You cannot be lost by being found. God is. Simple. It's simple. The choice is simple. It's we ourselves who complicate it. All right, so this is a subject that is really the centerpiece of A Course in Miracles. It's the centerpiece of all spirituality, and naturally, it's going to be the centerpiece of everything that I'm saying. One of the things that I love about A Course in Miracles, and this is why I feel so confident in saying you don't have to believe anything I say, is because A Course in Miracles says you don't have to believe anything in it. Just be willing to entertain the idea. All it's calling for is honesty. So the question for you is, will you be honest, 100% honest with yourself? And I do hope that the answer may be yes, a resounding yes. All right. So I'm loving these Monday special focuses, which of course we always tie in to A Course in Miracles. So let's see who's tuning in here today. Now, if you're catching this on the replay, let me know where you're tuning in from, because it's so much fun to see where everybody is coming from. We literally have people from all over the world. It's a worldwide audience. And I thank you so much for tuning in, whether you catch this live or on the replay, for all of your likes, shares, hearts. The network appreciates it. I appreciate it. And everyone else appreciates it too. This is spiritual practice is designed to be shared, isn't it? I mean, A Course in Miracles is really like that. That's why there are so many study groups and that sort of thing involved with A Course in Miracles. That's why people get together and they pour through the text and the workbook in a group, because it lends itself to that. And it's a way of showing us that minds are joined. I mean, literally, we are one. So thank you all for tuning in here. We've got a few people on. And Donna, hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning in here today. It's nice to have you with us. So it's simple. Spirituality is simple. It's up to us to entertain these simple concepts, and whether we believe them or not, doesn't matter. Just entertain them. Whether they make sense to you right now or not, doesn't matter. Part of our complication of things in the world is the fact that we feel the need to understand it with our intellectual minds. Well, we're not our intellectual minds. The intellectual thinking mind can't grasp the real experience of who we are because it's beyond thoughts, it's beyond language. It must be experienced. So the more you choose love, the more you open yourself to experience. The more you meditate, the more you open yourself to experience. All of spirituality is about opening yourself to experience. So whatever that looks like, I hope that you'll open yourself to experience today. Experience the truth of who you really are, which is available to us, all of us, at all times, and has never gone away. We may have wandered in the wilderness, but it has not affected who we really are. Not at all. So entertain that. Entertain that thought today. And I hope that that will uplift you and carry you on your way, whatever your practice looks like. And if you're catching the replay, feel free to leave comments or questions here for me and say hello. It's a pleasure to have you joining me here today. And I will be back here tomorrow with workbook lesson 91, where we move forward with A Course in Miracles. All right, everyone, have a